Hi, I'm Michelle Begue with a look at what's happening in Latin America now. But first, our news trivia. Which Latin American country recently had its national anthem reinterpreted by more than 40 birds? We'll have the answer later. Peru's former president Alejandro Toledo has been sentenced to over 20 years in prison, becoming the latest Latin American leader implicated in the Odebrecht corruption scandal. Toledo was convicted of accepting $35 million in bribes from the Brazilian construction giant in exchange for awarding a freeway construction contract. Other former Peruvian presidents, Pedro Pablo Kuczynski and Ollanta Humala, are also under investigation for their alleged involvement in similar Odebrecht-related corruption cases. Let's go to my colleague Joel Richards for a special report.
Presidential elections are dominating world news. Before voters in the United States go to the polls, this weekend the small South American nation Uruguay also chooses its next president. Less than 3 million voters will elect the successor to Conservative President Luis Lacalle Pou, who steps down after his term in office. In Uruguay, presidents are barred from serving consecutive terms. Amongst the frontrunners are Andrés Ojeda of the Conservative Colorado Party. Former cabinet chief to Lacalle Pou, Álvaro Delgado, leads a centre-right coalition. He's second in the race, according to polls, but leftist candidate Yamandu Orsi of the Frente Amplio, or the Broad Front, is the frontrunner ahead of Sunday's vote. The final days of Orsi's campaign were marked by the reappearance of former President José Pepe Mujica, president between 2010 and 2015. 89-year-old Mujica is battling ill health, but he sent an emotive message to younger generations to work for hope and say no to hate and confrontation. This coming Sunday, Uruguayans will also vote in a referendum on two key issues, one related to measures to combat crime, but importantly and secondly over a pension reform. This proposed reform has stirred debate over the economic impact for whoever is the next president of Uruguay. If no candidate wins 50% of the vote, as is expected, there will be a second-round runoff in late November.
Colombia is grieving the loss of iconic musician Egidio Cuadrado, a longtime accordion player to international star Carlos Vives. Cuadrado passed away due to health complications related to pneumonia at the age of 71. His artistry will be remembered far beyond Colombia. His lively accordion sounds helped blend the spirit and folklore of vallenato music with contemporary pop rock melodies in Carlos Vives' band La Provincia. Cuba's electrical grid is failing. The power outages first occurred last Friday after the island's largest power plant shut down. In the next 48 hours, the island suffered 4 more outages as storms passed through, leaving 10 million people in the dark. Residents report being exhausted. The majority of residents have suffered from months of blackouts due to the Caribbean's hot summer. Officials say the blackouts were caused by more pressure on the system because of higher use of air conditioners. Now let's check out what stories we're following for next week. Check out these images from Mexico of marigold flowers being cultivated for the Day of the Dead celebrations, upcoming on November 1st and 2nd. The holiday is primarily Mexican and somewhat like a family reunion, as people gather to remember their ancestors who have passed. The fragrance of the vibrant orange flowers is said to lead souls from their burial place. And now the answer to our news trivia. The answer is A. Colombia recently recorded a special version of its national anthem using animal sounds instead of instruments. The animal species, including over 40 birds, were recorded in various locations throughout the country in their natural habitats. The new anthem was made to highlight the country's biodiversity and is being played at COP16, the UN Biodiversity Conference being held in the city of Cali. Colombia has the highest biodiversity of birds in the world and is a top bird-watching destination. And that's it for this week. We'll see you again soon on Latin America Now.